Chapter 8. Good. Every person around you is essential to your life purpose. They are woven into you like the threads of your skin. We come to ask ourselves, how should we live? What is the protocol for life, given all that we have discussed? Of course, it is entirely your journey. You will define it and create it and co create it with all those beautiful beings who inhabit this charmed life you are undertaking. At the same time, we can develop several ideas to help us to understand what a worthwhile life looks like. And moreover, what does it mean to do good in this world? Things are complicated. And the hope is that a more refined understanding through this multidimensional lens will allow us to simplify or clarify or amplify some choices in how we can use our time and our energies wisely. We deserve challenges. In a lot of ways, we look at the problems of the world and we are disappointed. We feel that they should be fixed. We are frustrated. Remember, however, the things that we said in the curriculum chapter. This is your moment. This is your life. It belongs to you. It is yours and it is of you and for you. So these things we experience in life, the problems and all, are not simply impediments. The obstacle is the way, as Marcus Aurelius said. So, when taken at a global and more collective level, we see that the problems of the world are the collective challenges we all face as a reflection of our evolutionary curriculum. Like the blind men exploring the elephant, we each chart our own course through the challenges of our contemporary world. But make no mistake that the challenges of our world are, to some degree, intentional, and they are personal to us. They are reflections of that collective psyche, and therefore they are emanating from our own psyches to some degree. They are a part of our shared multidimensional reality together on this planet. And so it is our project. It is a part of our garden. Let us tend to the garden. Let us endeavor to nurture our plants and remind them how beautiful they are. And when they come into bloom and we shed a tear, we will pretend that we are not surprised that they turned out quite so beautiful as they did. Beyond morality. I have always had a problem with morality. When I was 15, I spoke at a school assembly about moral absolutes, and I argued that moral absolutes did not exist. However, I didn't prepare well and spoke poorly. Many people in my class, whom I loved and admired, came away from that assembly vexed with me. Why would I be so callous? To say that horrible acts of degradation are not morally bad in an absolute sense. I still think of this assembly today, perhaps once per week. I still struggle to articulate my concerns about moralistic thinking. It is a complex topic that hits me deeply, but my concerns remain. I will do my best to articulate them here as it pertains to our multidimensional lens. First, I do endorse conventional notions of right and wrong as a social shorthand for acceptable conduct. But when we define our moralities as absolute or wield them as fundaments of reality, this changes our viewpoint. It takes our definitions of how the world should be and makes them the building blocks of our world. It allows us to define our world and its challenges, not in terms of curiosity, but of blame. The world's troubles are caused by bad or evil behavior. And by focusing on bad people, this mindset tends to shift attention away from understanding our challenges. We may miss, for example, the troubling reality that aggressors were themselves victims, which does not excuse their behavior, but complicates it in a human sense. We may miss new ways to intervene in psychological, social, or systemic challenges as a co creator of a better future. More than ever, I see that this world needs a reformation of our energetic ecology in favor of a healthy, balanced energy. This energy is not achieved by casting aspersions on others, but by tending to the whole world as one's garden. Focusing on bad people also primes us to think about punishing the wicked over nurturing and caring for those who were wronged. It permits a mindset of cruelty, which is often driven by unconscious desires for power, for simplicity, for easy satisfaction in the face of a complicated world. It may be easier to say that the world's problems are evil than to say that they are human. Because by saying they are human, we are forced to sit with them and see how we might have that capacity in us as well, that we could be condemned by our fellows one day, and to see critically that there are those moments of difficulty where, for now, we may not have the power to transmute darkness into light. To sit with our own powerlessness is acute and difficult. It alone changes us. Recall chapter 6. We said that powerlessness is one of the most impactful facets of our personal shadow, something that we struggle to process. Morality may allow us to reject our feelings of powerlessness by defining a cosmic rule set that gives the last word of life to a blazing accusation. When we had this assembly at school, one of my favorite teachers spoke at the end and said, "I continue to believe in moral absolutes because I believe that anything which degrades or assaults the dignity of a human being is wrong." I deeply agree with his sentiment. My only note is to blur the boundary lines. Let us look beyond the act into the human, beyond the rule set into space, and unpack the possibilities embedded in our relationships with every other person, whether we choose to see them or not. Outcomes of our energy. Our choices are not as simple as they seem. In a single moment, we feel that we can make any choice and it has no reality except as a simple movement of the body, selection of the mind, tiny ripple of physical behavior. But in truth, our choices exist in the panoramic space of multidimensionality. Our actions are more than physical. They are expressions of energy and psyche. They reverberate into this hidden world where they co create the situations of our lives and the lives of others. This may sound quite abstract and esoteric, but we can actually feel the outcomes of our actions in the form of energy. When we make a choice, there is that reverberation, like the banging of a gong, and like an intelligent tuning fork, We can learn to identify and understand the tone, intonation, and response of our actions. Like a xylophone player, we learn to strike the musical bars and create new frequencies, composites, expressions, feelings, atmospheres, and ambiance. Multidimensional ethics. As we gain experience in life, we all develop a certain awareness of how our actions reverberate. We sense the quality of our intentions and receive subtle feedback from our outside world. This awareness may accompany an explicit energetic practice or simply reflect a heightened intuition of when and how things work better for ourselves and others. As this awareness matures, it coalesces and becomes an essential organ of how we operate, a refined sense of our more optimal behavior in life. This refined sense allows us to develop a healthier and more co creative relationship with our world. This personal attribute of optimal behavior we sometimes call our multidimensional ethics. Like conventional ethics, it is based on a thoughtful, dispassionate sense of which choices will yield the best outcome. Unlike conventional ethics, it is rooted in awareness of our shared multidimensionality, which may follow a different set of protocols. Notably, it eliminates certain hard boundaries and recognizes that thoughts and intentions carry an energetic charge and have the capacity to affect the outside world. For example, we may recognize that we indulge in certain forms of dishonesty and that this dishonesty is actually cultivating a less genuine personal state of mind. This less genuine mindset, in turn, may affect the quality of our energies and place us in greater resonance with other people, non physical people, who have a similar quality of being dishonest or ingenuine. Having such a quality of non physical company would predispose us to greater rates of intoxication, which may make us feel less and less like ourselves. And so, in relationship with our personal multidimensional ethics, we may decide that this particular form of dishonesty is counterproductive for us. By changing the thoughts that initiate this behavior and changing that behavior in our lives, we cut off all of those downstream counter effects which were compromising our life in several ways. Multidimensional ethics are personal. They are something we each develop inwardly according to ourselves. We can define them in whatever way we like. They can exist in the form of a personal code that we write down somewhere, or it can exist on a more subtle level. It certainly will exist on a subtle level to some degree because any level of multidimensional ethics will have some discernment around energetic quality and some resolve around how to interface with particular frequencies of energy. But it can also exist in the form of specific decisions to do or not do certain things. In our multidimensional ethics, we may have some ideas which are more present for us at the moment, which are more pertinent to our evolutionary moment. And as those behaviors or changes become more ingrained and digested into our behavior, we will likely find new things to focus on over time. One of the most interesting and cross disciplinary applications of multidimensional ethics I have used in my life is the use of key affirmative phrases in order to retune my energies. Recently, I wrote down the phrase prioritize health, which helped me to take greater awareness of my holistic multidimensional state and attend to it throughout the day. Previously, I tended to allow my multidimensional state to suffer throughout the day, to fall into disrepair or energetic entropy. I would periodically recite the phrase inwardly and dial in to the frequency of the idea, reinforcing an energetic reprogramming that began when I started my relationship with the phrase. I used this phrase, prioritize health, for several days. It kept me more self aware, less single mindedly focused on those tasks in front of me. I cultivated a greater state of presence. Over time, the phrase fell out of use, but the energetic reprogramming remained in its way, suspended in the cellular fluid of my multidimensional self. Enmeshed Worlds. In previous chapters, we noted the importance of being aware of both worlds we live in, the physical world and the non physical one. These worlds influence one another. These are interconnected and enmeshed. If we do not learn to address and work with our non physical world, we may be like a beautifully rendered puppet, fully decked out with clothes and skills and no control over our strings. The non physical world affects our feelings, thoughts, motivations, and conversely, becoming a mature co creator means understanding the non physical world so we can facilitate more advanced and functional realities for ourselves and others. The word functional is key. It is not that the world is wrong or bad or sinful or unholy. It simply doesn't work as well as I feel it could. And that possibility of greater functionality extends into deeply humane realms of experience. By understanding multidimensional ethics, we see that what we consider good behavior may be just functional behavior. It is behavior that works in some alignment with a healthy evolutionary pattern for developing our lives and a collective world for everyone. What does this functional behavior look like? It has many different looks and shapes, and each person will cultivate their own functionality as an expression of their multidimensional ethics. However, there are some core patterns and dynamics which I believe are common to developing, maturing, advancing, and healing this world. One of the most central is the healthy exchange of energies in support of healthier energetic ecologies in our world. Assistance. In general, we help others through the exchange of energy. We are energy composite beings. By exchanging healthy energies with others, we enrich them and afford them opportunities to pursue new perspectives on life, on themselves, and on how their choices and behaviors impact the world around them. We often call this assistance. That is, the healthy and humanitarian donation of energies to others. This is one of the reasons I strive to respect and honor all spiritual traditions. A prayer circle of any particular denomination could potentially be doing a great deal of assistance. More recently, I have begun organizing healing circles. I meet with friends or our community through our nonprofit and work with energy, donating our energies for the betterment of others. These healing circles may focus on people or affairs anchored in the physical dimension, but the energies often go beyond, addressing factors at play in the non physical. In our non physical world, which is like our collective psyche, there are many people and many communities in a variety of states. Many of them are imbalanced, perhaps in an aggravated entropic state. For these communities, donating our healthy and balanced energies can truly transform them and support their healing from the inside out. Our energies can help to reform the relationships, the culture, the atmosphere of these communities. Providing these individuals and patterns with a healthy dose of energy allows the possibility of recovery to begin. It may give individuals a heightened self awareness, sensory relief, functional stability. This type of work is most always done in concert with non physical evolutionary guides, also known as spirit guides or helpers. By helping to heal and stabilize individuals and communities throughout the non physical world, we often address the underlying cause to so many of the ills of society. This can be a remarkable change from the typical pattern. We look at the world and see many challenging situations. We want to make a difference by intervening in physical affairs, but the physical intervention feels insurmountable or our efforts fall short. When we look just at the physical manifestations, we may overlook the underlying energetic ecologies which are driving the attitudes, feelings, and behavior patterns which precipitate broader social and global outcomes. Of course, there are many factors that make the world work as it does. There are cultural factors. People need to feel heard. They need to be recognized with dignity, and they need to co create their new reality in partnership with others and with their life experiences. Deeper still, we can say that the root cause of many of our issues is our immaturity as individuals and collectives. But our situations are deeply exacerbated by imbalanced multidimensional realities. In many cases, unhealthy non physical ecologies can exert great pressure and momentum to maintain certain patterns of behavior, thought, and energy. As long as we have entrenched non physical communities imposing, for example, dogmatic, indoctrinating, and supremacist attitudes, there will be pressure to conform in the physical world. Because the pressure is energetic in nature, it can be fascinating to see how various social groups take on similar frequencies over time. Different political groups, ethnic groups, or religious groups, for example, could each manifest a supremacist ideology with a similar energetic character, even if each group is opposed to the other. So, one way to develop the maturity and awareness of our global society in a way that is unified across both worlds is to partner with our evolutionary guides in our practice of energetic assistance. This assistance provides a way up for those populations who are stuck in stagnant dimensions and may be ready to move on to a more functional way of living. In working with our guides in this way, we will find our own conduct and lucidity will naturally improve as a result of connecting more deeply with their rarefied energies. And so, working beyond the physical world, we find avenues for transformation that can make a tremendous difference while integrating meaningfully with our personal spiritual lives. Your guides are here. To that extent, make no mistake, you will be partnering with your evolutionary guides on this. They are most likely here with you at this moment as you hear this. Perhaps take a moment, take a breath. If you want, you can close your eyes for a moment and recognize that presence in your space. Recognize they are with you. Can you feel it? Sense it? Taste it? Touch it? The energies are there. They are palpable. This person, these people, they are here for you with care and kindness and love, for they care for you so deeply in this regard. They have been with you many times along the way. They have woven themselves into your life like fabric, like a red thread, luminous and caring, a red thread of victory to assist you in binding your experiences together into this tapestry of co creation. Yes, of course. It is a co creation, for they could not do it without you, without your choices, your actions, your dedication. So consider taking a moment and being aware of your evolutionary guides as they have been present to support you and help you identify the things which will be beneficial to you in your evolutionary journey through life. Your evolutionary guides will be present whenever it is most appropriate for them to be, and they will be there for you when you need them most. They tend to appear when we are engaging in some material or activity which is essential to our evolutionary purpose. They come when there is meaning, value, and impact to their presence. Their contribution is usually through that energetic presence. With your evolutionary guide, you co create new fields of energy which are more astutely attuned to the evolutionary opportunities of the moment. And so, working with them, you are able to make something far greater than you could have done on your own. Let us take a moment to appreciate this co creation. The fact that something truly great, truly intimate and personal was in fact made in partnership with those ones who are loyal and love you and support you in this intimately multidimensional space. From all those evolutionary helpers on the other side, I wish to thank you and congratulate you for taking the time to read these ideas and explore these concepts. It is not that these ideas are perfect or ideal or even totally appropriate for you, but they are an opportunity, a big space, a new canvas for you to reconsider your own life and your own beliefs. What do you believe? What is important for you? How will you charge your life with meaning and impact? Will you change yourself in addition to the world? How will you make your love a thing of power and leverage your bonds with others to mobilize a change? It is all up to you. I wish you the absolute best, and I am thrilled to participate as your fellow, as your friend, as your co creator in this life and beyond.